Hi, this is Diego Otegui again, and in this short video, I'm going to address a very interesting and not very popular, not in the sense that it's not liked by others, but it is something that is very kind of recent, if you will, and so not many people really know about this, which is the what is called the triple nexus. And on top of that, so that triple nexus talks about the relationship between development, humanitarian action, and peace building. And this particular video is to address how these three different systems or disciplines connect with emergency management. And so what I wanted to point out in this short video is, so there are a couple of things, but essentially to start, I want you to understand that the main difference between emergency management and these three systems is that emergency management is essentially domestic, right? And because of that, what matters to emergency management are things associated to, structures and processes and management and policy and politics. So there is, and I talk about this in other videos as well, but I think that this particular unit and the relationship between emergency management and the triple nexus and these other disciplines is important because it emphasizes that distinct approach to the discipline. Probably it's because the other three, humanitarian action, peace building, and development, are disciplines that are essentially designed to take place outside of the boundaries or the borders of a country. And this takes us to another theme, if you will, which is, the reality, the fact that we have rich countries in this world and also poor countries. And as time evolved in the last couple of hundred years, the powers, the powerful nations, and the world started becoming more global, right, and interconnected. The powerful nations started to become more concerned and interested in helping the poor nations, right? And so most of the things that happen inside those three disciplines have to do with how these powerful nations can help poor nations. That doesn't mean that we don't have this at the domestic level. You do have humanitarian response as well, even in the United States, as it happened, with Hurricane Katrina, or it happens actually every day. The fact that a disaster event can happen in a place that is not necessarily extremely poor doesn't mean that you don't need to send external actors to contribute in the humanitarian response, because some people need that humanitarian assistance. You also need some peace building, right? Because we nowadays have a more conflictive landscape nowadays, both domestically and internationally, and the conversations about peace building are increasing and are at least recurrent every day. And when it comes to development as well, everything that you are doing now from one day to the other has to do with development. So every time that you engage, in gender issues or the difference in economic power and education and access to the job market and race, you're talking about development basically. So there has been a marked intention from all those of us in multiple disciplines interested in helping people to bring these disciplines together, because as the world becomes more chaotic, more is needed, and the tools and the approaches and the philosophies and the value systems of each of these disciplines in isolation is not necessarily as strong as when all these disciplines come together. Now, the fact that there are conversations between the three of them doesn't mean that things are working well. Actually, there are multiple aspects in which these disciplines do not connect really well. But if we put the triple nexus here and we put emergency management on this other side, then the disconnect and the tensions are much more clear, essentially because of what I said before. The approach of emergency management is more domestic, and it is intended to satisfy certain needs that are not necessarily the same needs as those other disciplines. So for the world of emergency management as a discipline, and you will hear me repeating this over and over again, what we have to do is actually always try to put the person at the center of attention, right? Especially when emergency management is the discipline that rules. When you are talking about, domestic situations, then even though you do have all these other disciplines and specialists that are talking about those other aspects of a crisis, domestically, it's emergency management. Emergency management is much more associated with government presence and operations, and because of that, there are more public agencies involved, like law enforcement and emergency management agencies and firefighters. So they are the ones that lead. And because of that, if emergency managers are or continue to be interested in those particular more managerial aspects of an intervention compared to the others, that's when these are the three at the domestic level, the tensions are going to be much more pronounced. So with this, I thank you again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay well.